Hello everyone. Today I'm here to discuss about the revision. So what we had studied long before, all the four modules from the electric motors, and also in addition to that four modules, the fifth module one more we had studied related with the circle diagram, right? So now whenever you're going to start up to for the preparation of electric motors, and as well when you're answering the questions in the question when they are answering the answers in the question paper, we need to follow some sequence as how you can face the question paper, right? Now first we need to start up with the preparation of module 1. So as usual in the module 1, it will be related with the both the theory concept plus the problems will appear, right? And then followed by we can go with the module 4, which is going to cover up with the theory. So sometimes, very rarely, they will provide the problems. Okay, so I'll just put a dot here. So problems will be a little bit doubt. They may ask or they may not ask. Okay, then after that we can go with module 5 preparation. In module 5, it will be almost, there will be a theory part which they are going to ask. Okay, then after that we will prepare the module 2. So in module 2 there will be a theory plus problem, and after that we can concentrate on to that module 3. In module 3 we will only focus on to the circle diagram, the problem on circle diagram. If you're not able to follow it up also, you can be thorough with at least these 4 modules, which is very easy to score up in this subject. Okay, so let's move on with the sequence of how you're going to face the questions in few question paper. Now let's start in module 1. What are the main important topics which you have to focus on it? So I hope that you can just note it down, this summary what we had summarized now, how the sequence we have to follow it up to study in exam and the preparations. This is the sequence which you have to follow it up. Okay, fine. Now let's move on with the individual questions which is being based on in module 1. So now let's concentrate on to the module 1. So in module 1, it's cover up the DC motors and as well as its losses and efficiency. So as I told in the previous video, in module 1, there will be a definite questions of the theory as well as the problems. So in module 1, these are the few topics which you have to concentrate on it. So where it includes the first topic as the back EMF and significance. Okay. The second one will be the torque equation. It's very important derivation. So this is a derivation part. And the characteristics of the series and shunt motors. So it is also a theory type question with characteristics, and as well the speed control of a shunt and a series motor. So wherein here also it's you have to be a very well good in explanatory with the diagrams. Okay, so here your creative, the idea which you have to remember is the theory as well as the circuit diagrams with the characteristics, everything. Along with that, this is the only one derivation which you have to practice, which is very compulsory. Okay, along with this, as you all know that once you know all its characteristics as well as the theory based on about the motors, Definitely you are interested to know about the applications. So they may ask the applications of a DC Shantan series motor. So you have to be aware with the applications. And the next, the remaining part which you have to concentrate is on, so few question, most of the question paper, it is going to cover up these topics only. So we'll check it out that once in the question papers what and all had been appeared. So only these 5 topics will be keep repeating. I have seen a few question paper what they have done in the first part of a module 1, 1A, 1B, 1C. In that part of a question had covered up exclusively this part, that is a DC motor starter. Usually this motor starter, they will be they usually set it to the as a choice for the second part of a question in a module 1 itself, but in most of the question paper they have concentrated only onto these topics. Along with this, the problems will be appearing. The problems based on the speed control of a shunt and series motor, and you need to remember a basic formulas which you require. Okay, now let's move on to the question paper. Okay, so let us check out. So what all the topics had been repeated in the question papers. So in July 2017, let me start up with the question paper. In July 2017, the first question in module 1, question 1A, it was, so in July 2017, the first question which has been appeared is derive the torque equation of a DC motor. So now here let us solve this. The torque equation, as you all know, the final derivation, you need to derive 1 divided by 2 pi into psi into Ia into Pz divided by A. Okay. So to derive this final expression or the torque equation, what the basic formula which you require? The basic formula you have to write it down side where the power is equal to P is equal to T into omega. This is a basic thing which you have to remember. Only 2 formulas you require to follow it up so that you can reach to this aim, final derivation. And EB is equal to phi ZnP divided by 60 into A. Okay, and from this how you can finally reach to the final expression. Let us see that. See, as you all know that P is equal to T into omega. This is a major basic formula which you need to follow. Okay, and power is given by product of voltage and current, right? So what you can take up this P is equal to T into omega, that is your job. How you are going to prove it up? You have to follow up some theory part. Okay, how did you get power is equal to torque into omega? Omega is nothing but it is again 2 pi n by 60. The value is 2 pi n by 60. Okay. Now what you are going to do is power is given by voltage into current, LHS. Voltage into current. So what voltage you will find is in the motor back EMF. Into the current is the armature current which is flowing to that. So that will be the power. So that is the LHS. Coming to RHS, torque, that is what we require. No, torque into omega is given by 2 pi n divided by 60. So what is EB? EB is equal to phi ZnP divided by 60 into A. Just substitute this value here. EB is equal to phi ZnP divided by 60 into A. That you need to substitute here. Then you have to just cross multiply neatly. So definitely you can reach to this value as 1 divided by 2 pi into psi into Ia into Pz divided by A. Okay. I hope you have got this easy technique how to derive the torque equation of a DC motor. But remember how you need to prove that P is equal to T omega, that you have to follow up the theory part. Okay, this is how the easy technique, even though if you're not, if the student is not able to, if it doesn't know anything, at least by making use of a basic formula, if you derive at some part of a marks, you can be allotted. Okay, and who want really a full preparation, they should know this basic formula, how they have derived power is equal to T into omega, so that you can get full marks. Okay, so this is about the torque equation. Now let's move on to the second 1B question what has been appeared in July 2017. The next part of a question is 1B, what are the applications of DC shunt, DC series motor and a compound motor? So you have to just segregate this two as shunt motor, series motor and compound motor. As you know, with its characteristics, right, of DC shunt motor, the speed will be always fairly constant and medium starting torque. So due to this reason, it is being used for like blowers, fans and fans, okay, then centrifugal and reciprocating pumps, centrifugal and reciprocating pumps, okay, then lathe machines, also like in milling machine, drilling machine, all the things. Okay, so that will be the applications of shunt motor. Similarly, coming to a series motor, in series motor it will be having a high starting torque and no load condition is dangerous in this case, right? So due to that reason, the series motor can be used for like for the lifting purposes. Like it will be used for cranes, hoists, elevators, trolleys, conveyors, okay, all this such kind of a lift part like electric locomotives, tractions, all this it involves with applications of a DC series motor. Next, coming to the compound motor. In a compound motor, you can take up like rolling mills. It can include like rolling mills, punches, okay, then shears, okay, then heavy planers, elevators, all this will be included as an applications. So you have to just write at least 4 to 5 each examples so that you can score out of out as for being allotted for 5 marks. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of the question, 1C. 1C question is, a 4-pole DC shunt motor takes 22 amps from 220 volt supply. The armature and shunt field resistances are 0.5 ohm and 100 ohm respectively. The armature is lap connected with 300 conductors. If the flux per pole is 20 milliweber, calculate the speed and developed torque. Now let's write down the given data and let us solve with the simple formulas. So here this will be the given data, the number of poles and the line current, that is IL, that is 22 amperes is been given, voltage RA, RSH, and since it is a lap connected, A is equal to P and Z is equal to 300, flux is 220 milliweber, and We can also write down the basic circuit diagram as it indicates a DC shunt motor. So we have to just write down this arrangement from which you should be aware with the KCL and KVL. So wherein the line current value will be equal to IA plus ISH, and if you apply a KVL to this loop, we can see that voltage V minus IA into RA, that is higher to lower potential means minus IA into RA, and this EB will be always quite opposite to that of voltage, supply voltage. So it is a minus EB is equal to 0. So finally we can get it as EB is equal to V minus EB is equal to V minus IA into RA. So this is a basic formula which you require it further when you are going to solve the problem. This one and as well as this formula. Okay, now let's move on with the unknown parameter speed and torque. So speed you can take, how you can find out is EB is equal to phi Z and P divided by 16 to A. Okay, so in this A is equal to P, you will substitute, so it will get cancelled, and N only you have to find out. Z is given, flux is given. How to find out EB? EB is equal to V minus IA into RA. V is given, RA is given. How to find out IA? As you all know that here in the KCL, IL is equal to IA plus ISH. What is IA? IA is equal to IL minus ISH. IA is equal to IL minus ISH. Right? So, this is how you can solve step by step, and finally you can get the value of the speed. So, this is about the speed. Next, coming to the torque. Torque equation just now we had gone through 1 divided by 2 pi into psi into Ia into Pz divided by A, wherein the parameters is already been given. So Ia is solved in the first part of a question. P is given, Z is given, A is given, psi is given. So you can check out this answer. So when I have solved, the speed I have got around 2101 RPM. Please you can just check out with this values after substituting the corresponding values. Speed you are going to get it as 2101 RPM, and the torque will result with the 18.9076 Newton meter. So this is how you can complete the first module, first part of a question. Now let us see what can be the other part of a question from the module 1. The next part of a question is in module 1 is question 2a. With a neat sketch, explain the Ward-Leonard method of a speed control of a DC motor. Now let me draw a diagram. So this is a diagram which you have to write it down for the Ward-Leonard method. So where it will be consisting of the motor M2, generator J2 setup, together it is been coupled, and M1. M1 is the main motor whose speed is to be required, whose speed control is required. Okay, and the field winding of this motor M1 will be the field winding you can see here. The field winding for M1 is this one, and for the generator this will be the field winding, and for the motor M2 this is a field winding. So the M1 field winding of this motor is permanently connected to the DC supply. You can see that here it is the rail which has been shown here. It has been directly permanently connected to DC supply, whereas the armature is supplied with a variable voltage so that the motor can run at any desired speed. So to provide this variable voltage, the motor generator setup is been used. So it consists of either an AC or a DC motor which is directly coupled to a generator. So this motor runs at an approximately constant speed. So the output of this generator is being fed to the motor M1. The field circuit of this generator is being separately excited from the available DC supply through a reversing switch. So this is what the reversing switch, you can see that, and a potential divider, so that its excitation can be varied from 0 to maximum in both the directions. Thus the generator output voltage will be varied from the 0 value to the maximum value. So by reversing the direction of the field current of the generator with the help of this reversing switch, and the polarity of the generated voltage will be reversed, and thus the change in the direction of a motor M1 can also be achieved. Okay, so as this method can give the unlimited speed control in either the directions, and this system is commonly employed for the elevators, hoists, okay, and main drive in steel mills. Okay, so this much you have to explain. And the modified version of a Ward-Leonard system is called as a Ward-Leonard Ellinger system, wherein the flywheel is being used there in addition to the motor generator setup. That is also being used in order to reduce the fluctuations in the power demand from the supply. So whenever the load on a main motor is suddenly it is increased, then the driving motor M2 from the motor generator set is going to slow down. So thus the inertia of a flywheel is used to supply part of the overload. So like this, when the load is suddenly decreased from the motor M1, then the motor M2 from the set is going to speed up, which is going to allow the energy to store it in the flywheel. So this much part we need to explain about the speed control of a DC motor by using a Ward-Leonard method. Now let us see the next part of a question. So the next part of a question will be based on the starter. So they have asked that explain the operation of a 3-point starter with a neat sketch. So this is the 3-point starter, wherein the starter is basically it is a variable resistance which has been divided into a number of sections. You can see that that is a variable resistances like R1, R2, R3, R4 and R5 like that, and the contact points of these sections are called to be as a studs, which has been brought out, and separately it will be shown it as from the position of 1, 2, 3 etc. up to this position. There are 3 points, main points of a starter, that is L, F and A. L means line terminal which is to be connected to a positive supply. You can see that here. And F means it is being connected to the field winding. And A means it is to be connected to the armature winding. So this is a respective terminals which I have to write it down, draw it initially. And the upper part of this you can just draw it as a continuously. The point L here is further it is been connected to an electromagnet which is called as a overload release, OLR, overload release. The second end of this OLR is been connected to a point where the handle of a starter is been pivoted to this part. Okay, and the handle is free to move from its other side against the force of the spring, and this spring brings back the handle to the off position under the influence of its own force. Another parallel path is derived from the stud 1 which has been given to the another electromagnet. Here you can see that another electromagnet which is called as no volt coil, NVC. NVC is further is being connected to a terminal. You can see that is it is further it is been connected to a terminal F. The starting resistance is entirely in series with the armature, and the OLR and the OLR and the NVC, these are the two protecting devices of the starter. Now this is about its construction. Let us move on to the operation. Initially the handle is in the off position. When the DC supply to the starter is switched on, okay, then the handle is slowly moved against the spring force to make a contact with the stud 1. At this point, the field winding gets supply through the parallel path which is being provided to a starting resistance through the NVC. Through the NVC. Now, while entire starting resistance slowly it will come in contact with all these resistances. So you can see that while entire starting resistances comes in series with the armature, and the armature current which is high at start will get limited. So as the handle is moved further, it goes on making the contacts with all the studs 2, 3, 4, etc., cutting out the starting resistance gradually from the armature circuit. So you can see that further this has been connected to the armature point. So it is going to get cut out from this armature. Okay, circuit. Now finally when the starter handle is in the run position, the entire starting resistance gets removed from the armature circuit and the motor will starts operating with normal speed and the handle is moved manually, and this is how you can see that the 3-point starter is going to work with it. Now this is about the operation of a 3-point starter. The next part of question 2C is based on the problem. Now let me write down the problem which has been appeared. 2C question is a 230 volt DC shunt motor runs at 800 rpm and takes armature current of 50 amperes. Find the resistance to be added to the field circuit to increase the speed from 800 rpm to 1000 rpm at an armature current of 80 amps. Assume flux proportional to field current and armature resistance is equal to 0.15 ohm and the field resistance is equal to 250 ohms. Now let us write down the given data. So as per the problem, the given data will be voltage is equal to 230, what we have underlined here. Resistance, armature resistance is 0.15 ohm and shunt resistance is 250 ohm, and IA1, that is first the armature current 50 amperes and it is going to get increased to 80 amperes by inserting the resistance. So that is what we have to find out, the value of Rx. So this is what the circuit diagram it looks. Initially the DC shunt motor it looks like this with all the suffix values as 1, and next part of it we have to increase the current, armature current to 50 to 80 amperes. So that is why we have to insert one resistance. So we need to find out this Rx value. So our aim is we have to find out this Rx value. Definitely the I shunt 2 value will get changed, right? So first before we find out the Rx value, we should know the I shunt 2. So how to find out the I shunt 2? Okay, so as this is all the N1 speed, N2 speed is given there, and also it is given that we need to assume a flux proportional to the field current. So flux is directly proportional to I shunt. As we know the relationship, EB is directly proportional to N into psi, or you can write it down that N is directly proportional to EB divided by psi. So again that is nothing but EB divided by what is psi? Flux is directly proportional to the shunt current ISH. So there are two different cases. So N1 by N2 you can write down. N1 by N2 is equal to EB1 divided by EB1 divided by I shunt 1 multiply by I shunt 2 divided by EB2. So this is EB divided by I shunt. So EB1 divided by I shunt 1 whole divided by EB2 divided by I shunt 2. So this is how it results with. N1 is given, N2 is given. N1 is given, N2 is given. We have to find out the corresponding. What is EB1? What is EB2? Let's find out that two terminologies. So EB1 can be written as, since it is a shunt motor, V minus IA1 into RA. Solve this. All the corresponding values you have to substitute. EB2 value will be equal to V minus IA2 into RA. Okay. Again you have to find out the value of EB2. So EB1 and EB2 can be solved with these two basic formulas. Next, coming to the I shunt 1. I shunt 1 you can find it out by the Ohm's law, voltage divided by R shunt. Okay, so that value you can easily find out. So we, after solving EB1, EB2 and with the I shunt 1, we have to find out the I shunt 2. So once you find out the I shunt 2, we can easily find out the Rx. How? So I hope you have followed up till here. So I shunt 2, I am going to get the answer as 0.721 amperes. 0.721 amperes. Now let us find out how to get the value of Rex. Since according to this Ohm's law, the R shunt, according to the Ohm's law, this is what the current flowing I shunt 2, right? So can we write according to the Ohm's law, I shunt 2 can be written as the voltage divided by resistance. What voltage it is appearing across this is the supply voltage, right? So voltage divided Rx plus RSH. So voltage is given there, right? And shunt resistance is also, it will be given there. And just I shunt 2 we have found just now, and find out the Rx. In this problem, Rx value you are going to get it as 69 ohms. 69 ohms. Please check that. 69 ohms. So this is how we can easily solve this 2C question. Okay. This how it completes your the 2 ABC questions from the module 1, right? Now let us summarize again. So this is what the summary today we had discussed. In the first part of a question, that is the torque equation of a DC motor, you can just practice off today, and applications of a DC shunt, series and compound motor, at least 5 applications of each motors, and the problem we had discussed, just work it out with answers, you can cross check. And the 2A, it was a choice here. So the 2A was a Ward-Leonard method. We had you have to be thorough with the diagram and explanatory part, and even 3-point starter also you have to be thorough with the diagram and explanatory part, and the easy problem. So this is how we can solve the first module question from the question paper of July 2017. Thank you for watching this video.